match against Shrewsbury, which effectively means you'll have a lot of friends and family watching. How much will that mean to you?
Yeah, it'd be nice. Obviously, I haven't been back there for, I think it's 3 years now. But I'm looking forward to it. Like you said, I'll know a lot of familiar faces, and yeah, I'm looking forward to going back. It'd be nice.
Be like going home, you get dinner at your mum's. And
Yeah, basically, it's 35 minutes from home, so it'll be a nice little short trip back home for me after the game, which will make a change. So it's something I'm going to look forward to.
What's pre-season been like so far? Is there like a sense of excitement around the club?
I think so, yeah. I think we were a little bit unfortunate with what happened towards the end of last season. The result against Barnsley sort of killed it for us, but we looked like we were going to go on a really good charge into and make a late bid for the playoffs, but that wasn't to be. But I think this season the aim's got to be the playoffs for us, and I'm looking forward to seeing what happens.
Yeah, especially after that equaliser against Fulham at Craven Cottage, it seemed like it was incredibly realistic. How do you recover from that?
I think it's just in terms of life goes on, really. I think it's just, that's football for you. You have the highs of the Fulham and then the lows of the Barnsley. I think we did exceptionally well just to be in with a shout at that stage after the poor form we had at the start of the season. We turned it around a lot and we went on a good run. But last year it wasn't to be. We're hoping to go one better this season, and we'll see what happens.
Inevitably thoughts turn to the start of last season, where clearly you had such a horrific personal time. How much has the club supported you, and how far have you come in that year?
Yeah, I've always said, I can't thank Brentford enough. The lads, the staff, the whole club, they were great with me. It made it a lot easier for me as well, to come in here and just focus on something else rather than what was going on at home. And I'll forever be grateful for what they did for me. But after that, I felt like I just needed to concentrate on football and still get my head down, get on with things, and trying to improve still as a football player. And thankfully I still managed to do that. And
the reception you got from the fans at Loftus Road in your first match back was really quite moving. Yeah, it was brilliant. It was very moving, as you said. I had a lot of the QPR players and Ian Holloway himself come up to me and just said really nice things to me, and that's the other side of football that you don't really want to see, but if you have to, like I did, then it's nice to know that there is friends in football as well as enemies. Puts into perspective. Yeah. There's been changes already before the season's even begun. Your captain, John Egan's left. Yeah. Was he a big presence in the dressing room, and how much will you miss that? Yeah, he was a good lad. He was great to have around the place. You can see by some of the messages that the lads have sent him on Twitter, Instagram, whatever it may be. He did a lot for the younger lads as well, and I'm sure that they'll miss him. But we've got to get on with things now. He's as a Sheffield United player now, so we're going to be playing against him rather than being there with leading us. So we just got to get our heads down, get on with it. Things like that happen in football. And Florian as well, going to Derby too. How significant a loss is that going to be? Yeah, again, he's a very good football player. That's why other clubs are interested at the end of the day. But again, like I said, it will be a loss, but he's gone on to Derby now, and we've got Saeed now, who looks a very good, sharp player, and hopefully he can take over from where Flo left. Just finally, has Dean made any significant changes to pre-season training? Is there anything different that you're doing, or is there anything that he's sort of implemented that you haven't done in the past? I wouldn't say we've changed a lot. There's always a philosophy here. I think the gaffer has his way of playing, and we all like the way he plays. You can see that with the success we've had from the last 2 or 3 years that he's been here. Like I said, we're hoping to go one better. We're working hard every day in training, trying to be as fit as we can, and make sure that we're fully ready come the 4th of August.
Ryan, you probably have a couple of similar areas, but firstly, what's the mood been like in pre-season? Because it's been ridiculously hot, ridiculously dry. You've been away a little bit, but yeah. What's the buzz been like out on the training ground? It's been great. We've got a great bunch of lads here and a lot of quality in the team.
the standard's been very high, as you'd expect. We've been working very hard, as you'd expect. It's been great, you know. The new lads have come in and they've got on it well with everybody, so it's looking good so far. You know, we won't go ahead too far of ourselves, but we'll just see how it goes the 4th of August and take each game as it comes after that.
And collectively, of course, memories do sort of drift back to last season and that long wait for a first win, despite the quality of the performances.
Yeah.
To a certain extent, would you rather get the win under the belt earlier, even if it came in a scruffy manner, rather than actually playing good football and not getting the results? Getting that first W is really important.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You'd take the points over the performance all day. You know, it's a points based business. Like you said, we felt unjust really with the performances we were putting in and the lack of points. But like I said, we managed to turn that around, and we'll take a couple of poor performances if we can get those points on the board, and then the performances should match what we deserve after that.
Yeah, because that reflection on what could have been at the end of the season, we start looking back and saying, what ifs, you know, if that had gone in, if there'd been a result there.
Yeah.
You know, you can't reflect on that because you've got to move forward, but I mean, a start is just as important as a finish, isn't it, when it comes to a long season?
Yeah, absolutely, and you know, the points make a difference, like I've already said, and the performances will come after that. As long as we get the points on the board, that's the most important thing, and we can move on from there.
And as far as the squad is concerned, you've been here a little while now, and there are ins and outs. It's the way that Brentford are modelled as a football club, and as a football business. It's something that you have to accept, that you're going to have new faces coming in, and you're going to lose some pals, don't you? That, you know, people move on to other football clubs. That's just the nature of the beast. Yeah,
absolutely, and that's not just Brentford. Obviously, there is a few ins and outs each summer here, but that's just the way it is. Like I said, life goes on. We have to move on, and the club always replaces the lads that we've lost with quality again. So, you know, it's sort of one hand it's not great, but on the other hand, we have lads who come in and do just as well.
What sort of player for Sheffield United's point of view? What sort of player? What sort of bloke are the Blades getting in the shape of Eags?
Yeah, like I said, he's a really good lad. He's a good lad to have around the place. He had a lot of friends here, and you know, the gaffer trusted him to be the captain, so he's obviously got that leadership quality in him as well. I'm sure he'll do really well there, and you know, I wish him all the best. But when we play against him, you know, it's down to business.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you know how to get around him, I suppose. Obviously, the armband is therefore available. I suppose it's fair to say. I mean, you've obviously, you know, you've led the side in the past. Is it something you enjoy being a leader?
You know, it's one of them. I always felt that it was a nice thing to do. I did it at Shrewsbury towards my end of time there as well. But you know, that's at the end of the day, it's the gaffer's decision, and I'm sure we'll be sitting down with a few people and having a chat with them come the end of the transfer window, and we'll see what happens from there.
But if he came to you would certainly accept it?
Oh yeah, why not?
As you said before, trip back to Shrewsbury, obviously yourself as the Salopian PLO. When you arrived, it's nice to go back. I mean, they've had a sort of great period, haven't they? Really, they've done really well. Yeah. Have you watched them with a little bit of pride from afar?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I've always wished them all the best. Ever since I left the place, I did see a couple of the lads before they played in the semi-final at Wembley actually, and you know, they did brilliant last year.
Yeah.
I think they did far more than anyone ever expected. But hopefully they can go again this season and see what happens.
Yeah. Talking about the season to come, I know it's very early days, but there was a hunger there at the back end of last season. It's a very hungry squad, and you talk about aiming for the top six, and you don't talk about it it's not an arrogant way, it is a genuine way that there is a belief here that you feel that you should be challenging again this season.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, we're a very young squad for a start, but we've got that experience in there as well. I think a lot of us have played a lot of championship games now, and with the quality that we've added, the quality that you see in training every day, sometimes it does blow you away. And again, like you said, it's not arrogance at all, but we we believe that the quality that we've got in there deserves to be around the top six.
Do you take a degree of pride yourself in your performances as players when a club can attract an Esri Konza, for example, who has been attracting a lot of attention elsewhere, but he decides that he wants to come and play with what you've got here at Brentford.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think he knows that the quality that the club does bring in, we're always up there or thereabouts, and he knows that if he comes here, there's going to be a lot of improvement. It seems to be a track record for Brentford to bring players in from the lower leagues, improve them, and then if obviously it doesn't happen with Brentford, they go on to bigger and better things elsewhere.
And tomorrow there's 2 games, aren't there, tomorrow? So I mean, I suppose you were campaigning. You didn't want to be put in the other squad. You had to go to Shrewsbury, didn't you? Really?
Yeah. I think I would have definitely. It'd be great for me to go back to Shrewsbury. Like I said, I'm really looking forward to that. It'd be nice to see some friendly faces again, and but again, it's going to be down to business, and we've got to put a performance in.
Yeah, and a couple of weeks before the start of the season. I mean, pre-season is where you have to put some of those hard miles in, but it's tangible now. It's pretty close. You're looking forward to actually the beginning of August and proper hostilities rather than pre-season games.
Yeah, I can't wait. I think if you ask any footballer, if they're going to be honest, they'll say that they really don't like pre-season very much. So it's always nice to get over the halfway line now, sort of thing. The games are coming thick and fast, and we're all excited for the first game of the season.
And just finally, in regards to the league this year, where do you think some of the challenges may come from? It's the other teams that you're going to be competing against, because it's a really tough division, isn't it, the Championship?
Yeah, it's a really tough division. You really never know. You only have to look at Millwall.
Yeah.
I think Cardiff last year surprised a lot of people. I think you're always going to be looking at the teams that have come down to see how well they do. West Brom, Stoke, Swansea. Teams like that, you always wonder how well they're going to do and cope with this league, because it's a lot different. But we'll see. Like I said, I'm sure everybody will take in each game as it comes, and we'll see what happens.